is everyone? This is Love from Hanging Out with Love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And today's topic is how to be self-sufficient or interdependent. Not independent, but interdependent. That means he needs you and you need him. Or if you're dating someone of the same sex, you need her and she needs you. So, why this video, love? Well, first of all, I posted it on my story and I'm like, would you ladies like a video about this? But the other sort of inspiration, I guess you could say, was when I was watching this show called Grownish. It's super cool. It's on Hulu. And I didn't watch like the first season because right now only the second and the third season are available up there. But I just found it like over the weekend. So that's one of the things that I did for Self-Love Saturday. I just sort of binged the second season and now I'm on the third. So I may be able to finish it this weekend depending on how many episodes are in season 3. But anyway, so the main character, Zoe, is like messing up in school and she basically got cut off by her family, specifically her dad. Her dad was like, I'm not giving you any money, like we'll pay for your tuition and like, you know, your expenses and stuff like that, but it won't be anything beyond tuition. So you'll have to like buy your own self-care maintenance type thing, clothes and all of that good stuff, right? So it was triggering for me. Is my body butter over here? Yes. Good, because I just washed my hands and my hands they just feel dry. So it was triggering because I remember when I got cut off. It happened like 3 years ago, but I'm still disgusted by it. Like I was just like, and I'm not angry at it anymore. I'm not angry, just a little disgusted, only because I feel like I should have had more time. Hey girl, I feel like I should have had more time. Like I don't feel like they should have cut me off at 23. I wanted to be one of those daughters, one of those granddaughters, one of those nieces who like always got money from her family. Like until I'm married, I feel like if I'm still on the market and no man is taking care of me, then you should do it. But I think that's honestly what it was. I feel like I had gotten into one relationship. I was with him for like 2 years. He was a provider. And then I got in another relationship that lasted about a year. He was a provider. So like them seeing me like, oh, okay, you're dating another guy who's a little bit older than you and like you think you're grown. That's how I took it. So if you ladies are like still getting supported by your family members, please tread light. Like don't really take anybody seriously. Like if they're providing anything for you, I would not tell my family. But I mean, I feel like there were certain instances where I like had to tell them in a way, but hindsight is 2020. I would have kept that to myself because I just wanted them to like help me out forever. And it wasn't a thing of where I couldn't take care of myself at all. It was just like, okay, if I overspent or if I wanted to go shopping, like I'm calling my family and I'm going to be like, hey, can you put like $200 in my account or, you know, something like that. But I digress. So this video is all about how you can become self-sufficient. So the very first thing, you have to have some type of income. Like it just is what it is. Like you need money, right? So having some sort of income means having a job. Maybe if you like are in school full-time and you can only work part-time, that's cool. But if you still have that support of your family or like your significant other, whatever your situation is, save all your money. Save all your money. When I was with my ex, I used to save like everything. Like I may buy a shirt every now and then, or maybe like some jewelry, because I like to dress up. I just like to be cute. And I also like to be professional in addition to that. So if you're anything like me, every now and then you go get some new pieces. But I wasn't like at the mall every weekend, or feeling like at every turn I have to go like hang out with my friends and spend money. I just need to check on this grease real quick because I'm making some mushroom steak tonight. So I'm making mushroom steak, and then I'm trying some fried green beans. And y'all, the reason why I'm like frying mushrooms, frying green beans and stuff is because I'm just trying out some different vegetarian recipes, and I just want to see what I like, you know? Because my mom was like, okay, Carl. She called me by my dad's name because my dad used to like try to fry a bunch of weird stuff. But it would be really good though. My dad was basically a chef. That was like what he really liked to do, to cook. And so I've been frying a lot of things, and she was like, okay, you need to stop trying to fry everything. I'm like, look, it's not like that. Like, I just want to fry stuff for now because I'm trying different recipes. But I digress. So I think this is about ready. I have my mushroom like marinating in some soy sauce right now. All right, so I'll just leave that there. And then I have my green beans boiling in some water, which I should probably switch eyes for this. Hold on one second. Let me put y'all like in the middle. Hey, Tasia. I'm gonna get to your question in just a second. I just saw that. Okay, let me do this. There we go. So that can like boil a little faster, and then I can put the okay. This grease and stuff popping. Sheesh. Alright, so mushroom steak and fried green beans. Vitamin B pills are good for energy. Okay. Okay, do you think living at home with your mom for a year and paying her $300 a month is good? So first of all, if she's not requiring $300 a month, I would say no. Only because like I did go back to live with my family for like a year when I was leaving the last serious relationship I was in. And I just did not want to live with him anymore. Like, he was super weird. And so I went back home, but I didn't have to pay for anything. So like I ended up in another relationship while I was at home, and like he was paying all of my expenses, but it really wasn't much just because I didn't have my own place. So he was just like paying my car payment, my insurance and stuff like that, my phone bill, like any other thing that I needed, my groceries. Like, he would take care of all of that stuff, all my expenses. But I didn't have to pay my mom rent. So like when I did get a job, I was able to save, and that helped me out a lot. Like, I was able to like take care of things for my car and put gas in my car, and like pay my expenses for school, because at the time I was about to go back to grad school. So yeah, like if she's asking you to contribute, that's one thing. Or if like every now and then you want to like help out with groceries or something like that, like that's cool. But when you factor it in, $300 times 12, that's $3,600 a year. And if you save that $3,600, you can move. You get what I'm saying? So put it into perspective. But if she's charging you that, like if she's like, okay, if you want to live here, this is what I need, pay her. Like, never be in someone's house, or even if it's a friend, be in their space and not give them what they need in order for you to be there. So that's just my 2 cents. Because you were saying a post about low energy and foggy brain during the chat. Oh yeah, yeah. So I stopped that. I did an updated video, Tasia, on my on my skincare page. I stopped it after like day 3. So I did 3 full days of the detox, and I feel like it was enough, because I do HIIT workouts, and I was like, I'm gonna pass out. Like, I can't work out that vigorous every single day and also not eat enough. So with my gym, for instance, like they're always telling me like you need to eat more. I'm actually under eating for the amount I need to eat, which is why for the past few days I've been eating a little bit more. But yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm like, vitamin B. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's awesome. But I would say like the detox thing, I think it's really good for someone who lives like a more sedentary lifestyle. Like if you know you don't work out, do that detox, filter out your system, get what you need. But yeah, for someone that like works out every day, like, dude, I was gonna pass out. I appreciate you. Okay, and then she's requiring it, so I'm thinking, should I stay? Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, $300 is the minimum. Like that's a very like small sacrifice to pay for what you're getting. So I'm pretty sure you obviously get basic room and board. You probably have your own room. You eat for free. That's huge. You seem to have a lot of freedom because you go out. So it's like a no-brainer. Like, yeah, give her money, but also save. And like, don't be too open about your finances, because sometimes parents can be like, oh, well, if you have extra, then why don't you let me get this? And it's like, I'm plotting. I'm trying to get out of here. So I appreciate your help. I appreciate you trying to make me responsible by making me pay. But no. But yeah, that's interesting. My parents wouldn't charge me rent or anything, but everybody's parents are different, so like there's no wrong way. I feel like it's really good, especially when you are like in your getting closer to like your mid-20s. Like they need you to know how to take care of yourself. So that's why parents do all of this stuff. Like I'm pretty sure she's not doing it to like punish you, but you do have to grow accustomed to paying your own bills. Because I know now, like I've been on my own for a while now, but this is like my first official apartment by myself, like completely by myself. Because I've been in college for like the past 5 years. I'm saying 5. Okay, I went to college for 4 years. I took a gap year, 2 years for this program, but then an extra semester technically because of that BS that happened last semester. So yeah, basically like 7 years I've been in college. So I've always had roommates and stuff. And that looks very different because I live in North Carolina. So most of the student housing here, you pay one fee. Like you pay a lump sum every month, and that includes like Wi-Fi, that includes water, your lights, and your rent in one subsidy. Like it's dope. So that includes everything. But yeah, so again, the first step, just in making sure that you have some income. You need some type of income. The next thing is making sure you have the adequate amount of like bank accounts. So for a lot of people, they have like one account and that's it. If you just have a basic checking account and a basic savings account, that is not good enough, okay? Why isn't it good enough? Because when you're like looking at saving for something serious, everybody has moments where they dabble into other accounts. Let's just put it out there, right? And then even if you are disciplined enough to not spend that money, there has to be like some separation between, okay, this money is for my bills, this money is for my savings, and then this money is for me to move, right? You need 3 different types. Now, okay, love, if I'm already saving money to move, why do I need a savings account? You need a savings account because things happen. So even if you have an account to move where you put like basic expenses for your admin fees, or a down payment, or if you need like a security deposit for anything, you have to also make sure you have savings so that when you get in there, if anything comes up, you're a-okay. Or if you need additional monies, like you're like, oh, I kind of undersaved, I saved $2,000 but I needed $2,500, you have that extra $500 in an account where you're good. So at the very minimum, you should have 3 accounts. You should have one with like an emergency fund. You should have a second account with your basic checking. This is where your actual check gets deposited to. And then 3, you should have a savings account where you are paying yourself, okay? Now, personally, I have about 6 different bank accounts. So I have a checking and savings at one bank, a checking and savings at another bank. I have an emergency fund at another, and then I have another account for, hey Journey, I have another account for savings as well. And so both of my savings account are online savings. So I use an online savings account for like my emergency fund, and then I have a separate online savings for just me saving in general. And I only spend about 70% of my income. So like that 70% includes my rent, my car payment, all of my other household bills like water, lights, etc. And then I put 30% in a different account, so that 30% can go towards like my nails, or if I need makeup, you know, that can go towards that. But I'm not dabbling into money that I need. In addition to it, let's say like 1 month one of my bills is just super high. This is cooking faster than I thought. One of my bills is just super high. I always have extra money, and then I still have my emergency fund on top of that. So my emergency fund doesn't go anywhere. It just sits there. And I keep at minimum $1,000 in that emergency fund. So according to Dave Ramsey's strategies, if you don't know Dave Ramsey, look him up on YouTube. He's an excellent financial strategist. And also, if you need tips on like how to budget, the Budgetnista, it's BUDGETNISTA. The Budgetnista, one word, is an excellent person that you can follow, and she has lots of tips on that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off of the eye and turn this eye off and turn my green beans down. All right. So yeah, she's an excellent person to follow when it comes to budgeting. You need to have a budget. You have to structure everything so that you're not overspending, okay? So basically, he says that for a single person with no children, you should have at least $500 in an emergency fund. I say you should have $1,000. Why? Because number one, you're an adult. Let's just be realistic. We have more bills. The second thing is the cost of living is a little bit higher, which means when the cost of living goes up, everything else goes up. So that means like the expenses that we have in terms of like your vehicle, you know, maintenance is going up. I remember when you can get your car inspected for like $20. Now most places charge you $30 for that. So when they say cost of living, that includes everything. That includes the rent for the town that you live in. That includes the amount of money that you spend on groceries, because food taxes may increase. So you have to make room for what we call inflation, which is basically when things are costing an excessive amount of money. And then also like basic things like gas. Sometimes like you have to have an extra account just to make ends meet. It's just what it is. So that's my next tip for you ladies. Make sure you have your money in separate accounts. The next thing I would say to be self-sufficient is stop giving people money, okay? So I'm not saying like if your family member needs money, you know they're responsible, they always give you your money back, you have to stop giving them money. You know, if that's what you feel like you need to do, you know, you feel like you're genuinely helping this individual, go for it, right? But my uncle always said to me, the best way you can help a person who's broke is to not become one of them, right? So don't feel like you have to constantly loan money. As a matter of fact, if it gets excessive to the point where every payday they're falling short and they feel like, oh, well, let me just call Tasia and get this money from her. Like, you don't want that. You don't want someone to start depending on you like you're a bank. You are not a payday loan, okay? And I actually had a really close friend who was like, you know, well, she really needs this because she has kids, and like I don't want her to fall behind because she has bills to pay. But baby, you have bills to pay too. So when you're in need, if you're too busy helping everybody else, you have nothing for yourself. So you have to pay yourself first. And so a lot of people do like this 50-30-20 budget, where like you use 50% of your money for your bills, you take 30% of money for your savings, and then you do 20% towards like miscellaneous or whatever. You can definitely do that. I think whatever practice works for you. But just because of the nature of my bills and where I am in my career, I do 70-30. So 70% goes towards my main bills, give or take like $100. And then 30% is my savings and me being able to take care of my maintenance, because your girl needs to be pampered, okay? So definitely budget, and don't give out your money so freely, like, or even tell them that you'll charge them more. Like if they're like, oh, I just need to hold $100 until this day, be like, all right, well, I'm gonna charge you like 5% interest because I'm the bank now, right? So you charge them $105 instead of just $100, and that'll stop people from wanting to borrow money from you, because they're like, what are you, the bank? Yeah, I am. That's what you're turning me into, so that's what I am now, right? So another thing in terms of self-sufficiency is just making sure that you know what to expect when it comes to your finances. So a lot of people, hey Ashlyn, a lot of people have difficulty when it comes to their money, and they can't save because they don't know what's coming in and what's going out. So for instance, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't make a lot of money, and you know, I'm always spending money on stupid stuff, and then at the end of the month I don't have anything to give back to myself. Well, the reason for that is because you're literally afraid to take a look at your finances and figure out what you owe. You don't even know how much money you're making, so you have to figure out what's coming in, which is how much you're making with your job or your side hustles, what's going out, which is how many expenses you have, and then decide from there, like, what area can I cut back on, right? Hey CC. So for me, my area to cut back on was like websites and stuff, like for Netflix and Hulu. So I have Hulu now, but this is my ex-boyfriend's account, and I also, like anytime I use Netflix, I'm going to use one of my family members' accounts or something like that. Like I'm not going to pay $13.99. It's going up to $13.99, by the way. I just saw the notice the other day. But I was so thankful because I was at my mom's house watching it, and that's how I know. I don't know because I'm paying it, because I'm not paying for that. So little things like that. I know that's not a necessity and I don't want it. Things that I would not ever cut back on is like the quality of my food. So my grocery bill is going to be a little bit higher than some people because I like organic produce. I like organic spices. I like organic fruits and vegetables. Anything that I buy, you know, my water, it has to be spring water or alkaline water. Like the quality of things that I put in my body means a lot to me. So that's an area I would not cut back on. And that also helps with self-sufficiency, because this is the thing. If you make your body a priority, what you feed yourself, what you feed your mind, you know, because this is brain food, people. Literally, you are what you eat. So when you find it difficult to like focus at work because you're eating ramen noodles every other hour, and you're grabbing a bag of chips, and you're deciding to eat like a big greasy burger at night instead of having a salad, and then you're wondering like, dang, why am I so tired this morning? Like I went to bed at a certain time, and sometimes it's because your body was working 10 times harder to break down all of that food, and then once it broke it down, finally, it didn't have any nutrients. You ate just to be full. It was not feeding yourself. So that brings me to my next point, which had nothing to do with the video, But when you eat, the purpose of eating is to feed your cells. You're trying to refuel yourself. So when you eat, just ask yourself, like, is this fuel or is this going to be toxic to me? Am I going to be energized after I eat it, or am I going to be sleepy? Am I going to feel happy after I eat it, or am I going to have an attitude? Right? That's how you have to think when it comes to your food, okay? So another thing about self-sufficiency, get a car. All right, if you live in a town like, okay, if you live in like the state of New York, for instance, this isn't for you. Of course, this is applicable for whatever area you live in, right? So if you live in more of like a metropolitan type of area, you may not need a vehicle because most people take public transportation. But if you do live in a more rural area or your town is not as busy, you need a car. Get you a car. And I would even say, if you live with your parents, before you even move out, make sure everything is good with your vehicle. This means making sure that you get your maintenance on time, learn how to check your oil. Make sure that if you don't have a car, you're saving money to buy one and that you're checking the Carfax. Also, like, have your dad or like your uncle or another trusted male adult go with you when you go buy the car, so that you're not buying a lemon and wasting your time, right? The next thing for self-sufficiency in terms of cars is to stay far away from car payments. So if you're just getting your first car and you're like, oh, my credit's good, I want to go get this new BMW, or I want to go get a new Jeep, like, sis, stop right now. Don't you dare do it. Like, don't you dare do it, okay? It's not worth it. I always told myself, like, if I ever buy a new car, it'll be after college. I'm not going to get a car payment. And then I ended up in this relationship and he really wanted this car. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sign for it. He had the money, I had the credit. He was paying all my bills. And I just felt like, we're going to be together. So it is what it is. So we break up. He doesn't want to let the relationship go, right? So I'm like, well, this sucks, but I don't want to be with you. So you keep the car, because it's not that serious. It's still your car. You keep the car. I'm not going to take it from you and like interrupt, your livelihood. I know you have to work, but just leave me alone. So this guy keeps like stalking me. I ended up having to take out a protective order on him. And then he kept getting locked up for violating the protective order. So I'm like, sir, if you keep going to jail, how the heck are you going to pay a car payment, right? So then I had to think smart and figure out a way to get the key. The officer gave it to me. Thank you, officer. And then now I have a car payment for $400 a month. This happened in 2016. It is now 2020. I'll be officially done paying for the car next year. Don't do it, okay? That's a car that we got October of 2015, and the lease was ending in 2021. So it was about 6 years. Don't do it. I had to go back and like cancel so many stupid warranties that he had on the car. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just trusted him to know. And even if you're doing this with like a trusted adult, you go there and they're like, okay, you don't need this, and this. It's still a car payment. You're still obligated to pay that, y'all. And it comes every month like clockwork. Don't do it. And at the time, my life was so legit. Like, literally, any car that I've ever had, my parents bought. I got my first car when I was, 16, 17. I got my license at 17. So my first car was like this 95 Lexus. It was gray, super cute. And I just remember like having peace of mind that I didn't have a car payment. And when I got my car after that didn't have a car payment. So my family has always paid for cars in cash. And then when I got this car, I just gave my grandfather his car back, and I was like, hey, you can have this one. I'm gonna have to pay this car note. So there was no reason for me to have one of my family's cars when now I have my own car to pay for. Please don't do it. Like, I won't even talk about it anymore, but just don't do it. It's not a good look. Also, never, ever, ever sign for anything for a guy, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, so this particular situation, y'all, I was blessed, bro. What are the odds, number one, that I get to keep the car that also has my name on it? Now just think, what if we broke up, he went on about his business and then just stops paying? There's nothing I can do. Now I can call the company and say, hey, I'll go ahead and take the payments from here, which honestly, I'm the type of person that would do that because my credit means that much to me. Even though I wouldn't have had the car, I just, in my mind, I'm like, I'm responsible for this, so I'll just take that L. You know, it is what it is. But I got blessed to where I was able to get the key, both keys, so he couldn't take the car back. And then now I'm paying it and it's about to be paid off, you know. So I got so lucky, but people don't get that lucky in life. Like, it's very rare. Like, the examples that y'all hear about me, how I be getting out of situations, my situation is rare. Like, I am truly, when I say blessed and highly favored, I am blessed and highly favored, okay? Don't try this at home. Just don't. Yes, so sexy. Oh gosh, thanks. You're funny. So, what else can I say for self-sufficiency? Don't feel like when you ladies are dating or when you're actually like in a relationship that you can't take a man's help. Like, self-sufficient means I can take care of myself. Like, with or without you, I'm going to be good. However, it goes into independent when you start saying stupid things like, oh, well, I don't need you. Like, you can know that, you can be cognizant of it, but never say that to a man. Men at their core need to feel needed, period. If that man feels like you don't need him for anything, that's a problem. Even the dusties who are like, oh, I'll lay it down. In his head, you need him for sex. So you still need him in some type of capacity, right? They need to feel needed. Understand the psyche of a man and you will have no problems, okay? So when it comes to being independent, you know, I've had a lot of friends who are like, oh, I didn't know, you know, your man was paying all your bills. Why you need him to do that, you know? Or do you still have a job? I'm like, yeah. So you don't pay for nothing? I'm like, no. I don't want a man to do all that. I don't want him feeling like he can run over me and do da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, those same friends are getting drugged through the mud, cheated on, lied to. Some of them were getting beat up. And I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm so serious. Like, but you're telling me that because this man is providing for me, that I will probably have to be at his mercy when he's being more respectful to me than he probably would be to anyone else, because he's investing in me and he doesn't want to lose that investment. Hey, Lakia. So it looks very different. Don't let nobody tell you that just because a man is providing for you that he's going to put his hands on you, or that because a man is providing for you he's going to cheat on you and you just have to accept it. That's not realistic. I put money on it, and I BS you not. All of my friends who were not being fully provided for, were not living that pampered lifestyle, had terrible marriages, terrible relationships, and I had some pretty good relationships and I was being fully taken care of. So it's about what you want. It's about what you will accept. And again, they have to know that you're self-sufficient. Any man that I dated, they knew I was perfectly capable of taking care of myself. What does that mean? You're here, babe, and you want me. Right. So that means this is your responsibility now. Here you go. Thanks, doll. Right? You don't have to accept anything that you don't want to accept, period. So that is my spiel on self-sufficiency. I need to get back to cooking so I can finish making these green bean fries. And I need to taste this mushroom steak and see what it's hitting for, you know, because I just don't know what it's going to taste like. This is my first time making it. But I love you ladies so much. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps. And then, of course, if you need to book a consultation with me, please do so. The link is in my bio. You are so welcome, gorgeous. And I'm about to post this video to my YouTube channel. So if you have a friend that you feel like could definitely benefit from it, share it with them, you know, grow my channel. Good night. Happy Self-Love Sunday.